Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? Kevin here, coming back at you with another video. Okay, so you see this motor right here in front of you. This is the one we did we drilled out the crankshaft on. It's a parts engine, nothing fancy. We're going to use it for parts. But we're working on the kv75 and we need a part from this engine. We need that shifter shaft. This has a good spline on it, and we need that for our shifter, because ours is all stripped out on ours. So we're going to pull that part off. And you guys have seen this done before in my other videos, some of my other videos. So we're just going to rip this thing apart and snap into it. This right here has already been taken apart before. No surprise. Not really worried about any parts on this engine. In fact, it's only held on with a couple of bolts, because someone's already been in there, and it wasn't me. They really hacked the heck out of this thing too. They did the what do you call it? They put bolts in here for the clutch. I wonder how well that worked out. Man, this motor's just hacked, but that's okay. We don't care. In fact, it's not one of the original motors for the bike it came off of anyway. So I don't know what year it is. But I do know, yeah, they really hacked the heck out of this thing. Wasn't even on there. Probably not even a gasket. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's good. This thing's junk. Junk. There's the gear right here for your oil pump. It does have a good shifter, a good kickstart shaft, but we're not going to break the case down to get that out. We are after the clutch shaft, and the clutch shaft, the shifter mechanism. So we are going to get to that point. Huh. Look at that. The clutch wasn't even held. There was no clip in the clutch. I'm looking in there for the clip. My cup, not even in there. Good. Less work we have to do, right? A lot of rust in here. Okay. Move that down like we did on the other one, and voila. If we get this out without killing it, we'll be in good shape. And then we have our shaft. Good. Good Kickstarter shaft on this too, by the way. This whole thing is grenaded. But I'm not worried about that, because we're not using any of this junk. Unfortunately, the gears look pretty good, and I'll probably keep it for the transmission. And that's about it. That's about all it's good for. Clutch is rusted up pretty good, pretty well wasted. Okay, let's get this out of the way here. Alright, so let's take a look and see if they are compatible, if I can use them, if I can't use them, and if I have to go to a plan C, because this is plan B. Plan A would be replacing it. Plan B is modifying that one to fit it, and it may be too short, or it might be too long. We don't know yet. So we're going to find out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we got them side by side, and they are the same exact length. Just that this one right here is welded on the end, and this one right here is recessed in a little bit. I'm okay with that. So now, all we have to do is grind off the welds off both of these, and then they can take this nice clean shaft and weld it into this bracket. So I am not going to grind these off today. I just wanted to see if I have one that would work, and apparently I do, which is a win-win situation. And now we got to check one more thing. So we wipe them down, both of them, because looks can be deceiving, and we all know that. Alright, so let's get this on here. So we got the shaft. It is completely different, but the length of the rod is the same. just a matter of grinding off some welding, which is fine. We can easily do that, and then modify it to fit the other one. But in order to do that, we have to make sure that the shaft is the same length for this modification. Okay, so for that, I'm going to use my Made by General Tools. I am not sponsored by them, but when they have a good product, I always show this in the videos because this is the one I use, and it's a good, good quality caliper vernier. It's on millimeters. This thing does, just so you guys know, I'll show you. You click on the mode, and it changes over to inches. Click it one more. Now it's in fractions. So you click the little lock up top, just like a regular caliper vernier, and it measures in fractions. Put it back in, hit mode. Now it's in millimeters. Then click it back again, and now it's in inches. And the nice thing about this is you can do it in any way you want to do it. So I'm going to go with millimeters, just because I like millimeters better. And I'm going to measure a shaft. On a clean spot on the shaft, I'm getting 11.95, 96, right in that realm. 11.94, 95, yep, this is it, same shaft. So the thickness of the shaft is the exact same, which is exactly what I was hoping for. And now I have my donor for that shaft. So now, to do this modification, I'm not going to do this on screen because it's just going to take too long of grinding, but I got to basically grind off all the welds, pop it through, put the other one in, and then it will be all good to go. Same mechanism, same style mechanism. One grabs from the top of the drum, one grabs from the bottom. Other than that, it will not work. They're not interchangeable in any stretch of the means. In fact, even the springs are different. However, the shaft is the same. The mechanism is good, the shaft is bad. I'm going to change out the shafts. That's simple. Alright, so we got that part done. We're getting this figured out, guys. Alright, so now we have the next step. Okay, on to the next big project. So, I've been asked a lot of questions what I'm doing with this here particular tank. There is no dents on the side. The sides on this tank are perfect. The tank is perfect on bottom, perfect up top, perfect on this side, okay? There's nothing wrong with the tank on the outside. A little rust right there, but nothing that can't be cleaned up. In fact, I could probably clean that up with a little bit of rust. Or a little sandpaper. Okay? Not a big deal. What we're going to do, they use this stuff called cream. And stuff called cream, or a tank sealer, is really, really bad for a tank. Okay? Why is it bad for a tank? Picture a football, how a football is made. You got your outer skin, and then you have your inner bladder. Okay? Sometimes the outer skin gets weak, and then the bladder starts to poke through it and puts a bubble in the side of a ball. If you ever seen a basketball with a bubble, or even a car tire that has a little bubble in it, picture that bubble. What happens is these tanks won't expand like that. But what they will do is the cream will allow fuel to get between the cream bladder, basically, and the metal, and it will rock the tank from the inside out. And this tank has got some seriously thick rust. I put acid in it. I used my, I pulled out all the stops. First thing I did was vinegar it. Okay, then I realized I had cream and wasn't even touching it. So then I used muriatic acid. I forgot how to pronounce it. But the acid that they put in pools. Okay, I put that in here. That ate a lot of the cream up. I put in acetone, straight acetone. Couldn't get this cream stuff to break up. In some spots it did, some parts it didn't. It was just bad. So the tank is junk. But no, it's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the tank over. There's some rust holes up here. There's a couple down bottom here. There are some rust spots on this tank on the inside. Okay? What we are going to do is we're going to take a cutter and we're going to cut the tank along here. Okay? We're going to go through the valley right about here. Come up and over to here. We're going to go on the inside of the tank, right? We're not going to touch the petcock hole. We're going to come right here. We're going to go down, over and around and come back up through. And we're going to take this big piece of metal right clear out. We are then going to take a wire wheel to the whole inside of the tank, clean up the entire inside of the tank, get all the rust out, mark all the little holes. Any little hole in the tank, we're going to drill out with an 1/8 inch drill. So if there's a little pinhole here, we're going to drill it out with an 1/8 inch drill bit. And we're going to go ahead and have it spot welded in place. After the whole inside of the tank is clean with the wire wheel, we are then going to have it re-welded back together. And then this tank will be as good as new. So that's how we're going to fix this here tank, because it's a beautiful solid tank and it really just needs a little bit of love. So that's what we're going to do with this tank, and that'll be up in an upcoming video. Going to try to get that done after we get all the clutch stuff done. We're doing the inspection. We're going right through this bike, so this is part of that. I wanted to touch base with you and let you guys know that. I know I've gotten a couple of compliments. Am I getting rid of that tank? No, I'm keeping the tank. We're going to fix it, and I'm going to show you guys how you can do yours as well. No matter how bad they are, it doesn't matter how bad they are, they can be fixed. If you got a good outer shell, that's good. It's a good place to start, good place to work with. We are going to fix this, okay? And when this tank is upside down and you can see the inside, you could take a drill and a Dremel and clean up all the entire pieces. In fact, I might even sandblast it. I could bead blast the whole inside of this tank and make it look like brand spanking new. And that's going to be good for this bike, okay? So that's another way we might go. You can see I got the plug on here, right here. This is what I use to block off the, you can see some of the crap coming through. I mean, it's just bad, guys, you know? But we want to make sure that the tank is usable and works great. And if you do have a dent in your tank and your tank is rusted, guess what? Now you can pound it out from the inside out, and a machine shop can weld it, not a machine shop, a welding shop can weld this in for about $100. You know? So you can fix these tanks. There's all kinds of ways of fixing them. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to water test it, then we're going to pressure test it up to 2 psi and see how much, see if there's any leaks after it's all said and done. Okay, so hold on, be right back. Okay, now we got this engine up on the stand. Now you guys are probably going, geez, I'm crow, Kevin. Now, what, another kv100 motor? Yes. This is another one because this is the motor. This is a 2001. We're going to be pulling the oiler out of this motor. This is the oiler that is going to go into the kv75. Alright, so we have to take this oiler, change it all around, get it to work for the kv75. Because I'm cheap and I'm not buying a brand new oiler because I don't need to. I have a ton of oilers, so we're going to utilize what we have and go from there. So let's see if we can get this cover off without, yeah, okay. I love it when the screws come off like that. Now that I said that, this will probably be the only one that comes off easy. Nope, got 2. Can we get 3? I wonder if we get 3. A lot of information in this video, guys. A lot of information. We're going back and forth on a lot of things, but I'm touching base on, we're getting the shifter ready, the tank, and now the oiler. So I'm just moving right along on this bike. I don't want to slow down. I don't want to lose my gription. You know what I mean? Oh, this looks like it's going to be a good oiler, too. Everything worked on this bike, which was really, really nice. I really can't complain about that. Oh yeah, look at that oil, guys. Look at that, huh? A nice oiler. Nice, shiny oiler. Alright, let me get something to put this on. Okay. Alright, and that's pretty much it. I want to show you guys how you can tell the newer style oilers or not. Now, this is a 2001. Okay, and see how it's got a Preston fitting, and the other side's banjoed in. This is the newer newer style oiler. Also, Mikuni. It doesn't say Mick on it. This one says Mikuni on it. So this is a newer style oiler. It has its full name right in there. Okay, so this is another way you can tell the Mikunis from the Micks, which is the same exact company, and it's just short. So instead of abbreviation, they went all the way. Alright, so what am I doing here? Okay, let me get the tool to get this off and see if I have a brush to get this off with. Will it work? Yes, it will. Bada bing, bada ba, bada boom. And I love turning wrenches. Love building this bike. Okay. There's a washer on both sides of the banjo fitting. This is called a banjo fitting. It's got a hole through the center of it. Bing. And then it's got a washer on this side of the nut, or bolt, and on the other side. I'm just going to put that back in here. Just like so. Pop this off. Okay. Good. Now before I take this off, I'm going to actually loosen up that nut. Because I really don't want to be messing with that thing when it's off, because it's kind of a pain. Okay, get the socket. 10mm nut. Okay. Block washer and that nut. Now you'll see the way this thing moves. It moves this way. We're going to change the way it moves so it fits on the other way. Okay. That off there like so. Let me get okay. Once again, they use copper washers on it. I think I said that in the last video, but I like to repeat myself and go over things again. Copper washer. Boom. Pop that out if we can. Look at that, huh? And there is the oiler. Just like so. Now, we're going to put this motor away, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so now I got the side cover on here. You might notice I have the boards underneath of it, because the starter shaft is kicking down. And you can see how gnarly this thing looks. There's a word for you. Gnarly, man. It's like totally like radical, man. So like, we're like totally like working on the oil pump, you know? And like, I was there, and then the bolts came off, and then it like popped out. So, but anyway, so we're gonna pop these oil lines off. Let's see if we get those off without any catastrophic failures. Okay, they came right loose. These are snug, by the way. They are not overly tight. And then you pop up your grommet and they both come off in the same spots they were supposed to be in. And then underneath, they'll have, well, one of them will, in this case, have a washer. The plastic one does not have a washer. Plastic one is just on there for good luck. Alright, now, this oiler right here has definitely seen better days. In fact, I can't even get the lock washer off because there's so much rust. Okay, all the whole oil came out. That works too. Okay, so we got the oiler out. This thing is, that nut bolt right down the side there, that's your bleeder, by the way. That lets the air out, so you have to bleed the system. This thing is just hammered. So let's see if we can get this off. I don't really care about this oil pump. In fact, I'm going to use this in a video to show you guys what's inside of an oil pump. But for right now, we need that mechanism off of it. This piece right here is what we need. So I don't want to mess up this oil pump. I don't care if I... There you go. Got one part of it loose. Got the lock nut off. Alright, so now we got the lock nut, the mechanism, and the spring. Okay? The rest of this right here we'll use later on at a different time, different channel, blah blah blah. Okay. So now you'll notice on this one right here, there's two banks. Oh, right here. There's two banks. That's because the spring can go on in either direction. There is a right and a left spring for this. So unfortunately, we don't have the opposite spring. So let's see if this is the same spring. Okay, you can see right here that there's a left and a right spring. Okay, unfortunately you have to use the rusty one, but with a little bit of cleaning we could probably clean that up a bit. Alright, using a wire brush, using a brass one, just cleaning it up and inspecting it, making sure I don't see any thin spots on the spring. Just kind of cleaning it up a bit. Just a tad. A clean spring is a happy spring. And I'm using a oil to clean this with. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what you look for in spring. You're going to make sure these ears right here aren't weak, so they're not going to pull off and break. And then I always like to take the spring and give it a little bit of a stress test. Pull on it a little bit, see if it breaks. And it's not, so it's a good spring. Now we're going to take that spring, we're going to put that on here like so. Okay, it can only go on one way. Now this pump will work in either direction. Okay, you just have to make sure you put it in the proper direction. So with the mechanism. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to take that rusty, godforsaken, no good for nothing piece, this piece right here. This little tab right here is bent, so we're going to straighten that piece out with a pair of pliers. Might have to put that in the vise to do so. To the vise! Okay. Good. I can always hit this with a sandblaster later on. I'm just checking to make sure it all works together properly. That's all. If I really want to get fancy with it. Okay, so now the way this works, I'm going to get you back over here. Get you guys squared up. Back over here. Alright. So now, when the cable gets pulled on this thing, it's going to be pulled. Let's put it right back into the housing. Here's the housing here. Okay, so this goes in upside down like that. The cable comes in this way and grabs it and pulls on it. So let's see, it can't go that way, so it has to go this way. Which doesn't make a bit of sense. Yeah, so it would be that way. Right then, it would sit on the thing, on the pedestal like that. Let's rotate that around that way. And I'll cut across and then boom, boom. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. And then we're going to put the spring. There's a little groove that the spring sits into. Right there. And it has to go around one full revolution. Or 1/2 revolution, sorry. Okay, so this is going to sit on here like so. This spring hook right here has to go on the opposite side of where it was before. And let me tell you, this is kind of a pain to do. It can be done, but nevertheless it's a pain. Okay. Because you don't want to pinch any of the spring. Okay. Now we're going to use the new lock washer and the new nut. All right. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now we gotta get that spring on that side. Just a tedious little pain in the neck. Okay, right there. See, this is gonna fit in here like so. Just like that. Okay. Get you like this. Once you get all set, the cable comes through here to this, wraps around, and then the throttle, then it goes like that. And that is pretty much it. Now, this piece right here, okay, everything's in the opposite position. Now, if you look at the oilers, okay, you have your oil line right here coming from your tank, and your oil line going out to your intake. It was the absolute opposite on this pump. This one right here was the one going out to the oiler, and then this one right here was the one coming in from your oil tank, which was because the pump was mounted this way. This pump is also going to be spinning in the opposite direction. That's how it's reversed. That's okay. So now all you have to do is see this piece right here, take a pair of pliers, and rotate it around. Okay, just like so. Or you can take this out if you want to use your factory banjo fittings, which is what we're going to do. So this is the newest style pump with this on here. So this is not tapped out. So what we are going to do is we want this thing to be the same as this side. We want the same banjo on this side. We're going to take this right here and go back and forth. Oh, knocked you guys over. And then slide it out. Okay. Then I'm going to take a thread chaser, a tap, and I'm going to tap it to the same thread as that. So. Okay. So it's getting late on this video right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to do this on the next video right here. I'm going to ask you guys, can I just tap that out? Comment below. If I can just tap that out, would there be any damage to the motor? I'm going to ask you guys that question, let you guys answer below, and on my next video, I'm going to show you. As always, guys, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And we will be back tomorrow and to do part 2 of the oiler. Yeah, get that oiler done. Because we need to get this thing built so we can put this oiler onto this engine for our kv75 build. Because we need to have all our ducks in a row. And I don't want to be last minute going, oh, what about the oiler? So we're just trying to get stuff prepped up. So like I said, don't forget to comment below if just tapping that out would hurt the engine in any way, shape, or form. I want to see what you guys think. What you guys think about it. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next video.